Suraj, can you get the same background? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Okay, what did we discuss last time? Any points? Last Tuesday. Yes.
So probably you just think compared that it was you to him only, he was behaving ill towards her own wife, which represents good intelligence, and he's agreeing with that he is the cause. And we discuss about how attraction between man and woman in this material world.
Come on, sometimes, why we are having ego the co-Krishna. It would be nice, all of you start at least at some point making notes, because it's very, you should feel sad that you don't remember and recollect anything from this last discussion. What kind of memory, capacity of memory that is? We can't recollect, anything. We were discussing the consciousness and intelligence being neglected, no? If you don't study, let's say that's one of the reasons. Let's say we don't study scriptures. Now that handle should be washed also, as you touch. As usual, washing hands when you grab Haribol. Now you're going to see that it's not a good idea to touch the mouth. Mouth is considered more contaminated than the anus, because there's so many bacteria that are in the mouth. Now you touch this handle, it's jutai. Wash this handle, wash your hands also. Somebody else messed it up. Should learn some etiquette also. That's part of teaching what to do. Chewing the pen and stuff like that, kids do it in school, we shouldn't be doing it at this point, at least that's some common sense expected. So we were discussing about intelligence and consciousness being neglected. No? If that becomes the case, then what did we discuss last time? Then what happened? Then what happened? What happens to the person who neglects his consciousness and intellect? What does that mean, Sumit?
Yeah, I recollect, but I'm not sure. So
Okay, go ahead.
He feels guilty that he neglected.
Huh?
He feels guilty
Guilty for what?
for neglecting his own consciousness.
Yeah, but for what?
What does that mean?
What's the practical, what happened? What was the practical result?
He was like attracted by lusty desires.
He was attracted by lusty desires. Okay. What else?
So he told that in this material world, everything is based on this lusty.
Okay.
This big
In
building.
one sense, when it's absolutely dissatisfied, unhappy, we leave the essence and we search out for certain mirage that really doesn't exist. We go out hunting, the king went out hunting now, and he started performing sinful activities. So we start performing sinful activities, and therefore that's what means neglecting our intelligence, because we don't understand what kind of retribution there's going to be for those sinful activities, performing those sinful activities. And fortunately, what means Krishna consciousness, when one, by the mercy of spiritual master or Krishna, comes to some sense, some knowledge, some understanding, then one can realize what it means being simple, and how one is actually depriving oneself of real essence of life. That's the whole Sangha Sapsang of the last several verses, that's it. And then one allows oneself to be bewildered by Cupid, no? We discussed about Cupid, how the Cupid influences us. And that's the greatest distraction. And then, he falls, like Prabhupada was talking, both man and woman desire one another, that's the basic principle of material existence, that's why we are here. It's all because of sex life, that's it, man and woman, that's all. So women, we discussed, they keep themselves always beautiful, to keep themselves attractive to the lusty husbands, they want to take advantage. Yeah. Why a woman feels very satisfied when the man is advancing upon her. Why is she feeling satisfied? Yes.
Because that was her objective to attract.
But that's objective. Why that's an objective?
Because she wants to be with her.
She wants to bewilder. What else? But why she wants to
satisfy her senses.
To satisfy her senses, something more. What kind of sense mostly? It's a sense of mind. That I have conquered someone and I have someone else under my control. And then when you have someone under your control, then you can, that's the greater enjoyment. So that's a material point of view. Yeah? So when a woman controls the man, she feels great enjoyment. Because especially when the man is advancing, that means the man is conquered. The man lost it. He's lost. He lost the game. He might be thinking, yes, I'm going to conquer, but he's conquered. He's conquered. And he might be thinking, I'm going to enjoy, but he's enjoyed first. He's the loser actually. Both are losers anyway. They're both performing sinful activities. But primarily the man lost it. Yeah. He lost any sense of control, restriction. So that's why women feel very satisfied when they see men advancing, because of course they want to experience certain passion, and they feel in their mind satisfaction of having conquered that person. But this is what we have been discussing. So that's why it's natural that, women want to feel that passionate, they want to have that passionate experience. Okay, anyway, that we discussed last time. So Prabhupada was pointing out that this is happiness of material existence. The sex life is the highest type of happiness, and then everybody works very hard just to have, this kind of sense pleasure. That's the goal of life. That's what the whole world runs around. That's because of sex life. If you remove sex life from anyone's life, will anybody work hard? Will anyone get entangled? Will anyone create the big skyscrapers and roads and everything else? And now the sea link is coming and all these different kinds of things, underground metro and this and that. None of this would happen. It's all because of sex life. Okay, so what we are discussing here is the story for those maybe who didn't hear this pastime for some while, that we have been discussing it. And it's going on for quite a while, some months, right, Krishna?
Yes.
This chapter, last chapter, discussing these verses. So today we are starting another chapter, and this one's going to be very, very interesting because it's conclusion of the story. It's pretty much the conclusion. And it's entitled Attack by Chandrabhega on the City of King Puranjana, the character of Kala Kanya. So let's see what we have. So Narad Muni is speaking. He says, Narada Uvacha Itham Puranjanam Sat Yak Vasham Manya Vibram Mai Puranjani Maharaja Remeramyati Patim. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The great sage Narada continued. So what we also have here, we have a sage Narada telling this story to King Parjana Parikshit, who is the emperor of the whole world. And he's telling him the story of himself, just using another name and using a little bit different background, so that it's not really directly addressing the king, but it's talking about the king. It's talking to the king about the king himself. So that's why this is called an allegorical story, so that king doesn't feel offended. If I tell you you're simple, how do you feel? Not so nice, no? You wouldn't want to listen to me anymore, right? But if I tell you, see, there was one boy, and he was doing this and this and this and this. So that's what Narad Muni is doing. He's not directly addressing the king, but he's directly addressing the point, what's going on. So that king can digest it, he can listen to it, and he can benefit ultimately from higher instructions. So he said here, my dear king, after bewildering her husband in different ways and bringing him under her control, the wife of King Puranjana gave him all satisfaction and enjoyed sex life with him. So that's at first, if you want to enjoy anything or anyone, you have to bring them under control. And that's a task. That's not an easy thing to achieve, right? What are people ready to do to bring someone under their control? They'll do anything, right? Sometimes they'll put something, sometimes they're being so lusty that they'll put some, they call those aphrodisiacs, something that enhances that passion and lusty feelings. I'll put some stuff into someone's drink or meal or something, right? even to that extent, and then they'll try to bewilder them. This is kind of a, there are 8 types of marriages in the Vedic culture, and this is one of those. It's called the marriage of Pishachas. Rakshasa means when the bride is kidnapped. But Pishachas means when somebody is bewildered and taken advantage of. That's a Pishacha type of marriage. So forcibly, in that sense, you exploit someone. So it's not really kind of marriage, you would say, but that's why it's Pishacha. That's why it's not, because there are 4 demonic ones and there are 4 that are divine. So this one, of course, you can understand in which category. Not the record. That's the least recommended one. Yeah. Because it says the benefits of each and every type of relationship extends to certain length or a certain distance of generations, and the progeny will be affected by this type of consciousness, and then they will have certain characteristics and qualities and blah 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 and so forth. Anyway, so when somebody nowadays is so lusty and tries to bewilder others in so many different ways, of course, usually it's pretty much direct and gross, but sometimes even that doesn't work, and then persons are frustrated and they adopt all different kinds of other means. And there are all kinds of horrible things going on, which are product of these lower modes of material nature. Somebody is even ready to exploit, bewilder others, and forcefully, exploit them. But of course, generally it's by the dress, by being undressed, or being dressed in such a way that some other prominent so-called parts of the body become visible, and then acting, moving in a certain way and whatever. It's just meant to bewilder. It's meant to bewilder. And why people go to different clubs with different things, they're seeing the different kinds of dances, the belly dance, I don't know, nose dance and the ear dance and just, it's like all kinds of stupid things. Anyway, we won't mention this now. We don't want to agitate you. That's not the purpose of this discussion, but there are all kinds of things going on. In both ways, it's like each gender trying to bewilder the other. So that's part of this kind of bewildering scheme of material existence. You see, the animals also, they do the same thing. Of course, they're doing it in a more natural way. One pigeon will jump around and do all kinds of tricks and so many things and whatever. and whatever. Anyway, so many things are going on. One living being trying to bewilder another, just for purpose of sex life. And then once it's over, then that's it. That's it. So everything serves that purpose only. And everybody thinks this is the pinnacle. This is what everything is meant for, what everything is worth for. And then this is the bewilderment of material existence. And then when one is bewildered by the body, why we follow no illicit sex life? Why we follow this principle of no illicit relationships? Because if you're so engrossed with the body, how can you ever realize that you're a spirit soul? How is that possible? It's impossible. So if you're so engrossed in the body, if you're so engrossed in the dirty, smelly genitals, how can you ever realize that you're a spirit soul? It's impossible. So that's why one should rise above this bewilderment, thinking I'm the body and I'm enjoying the world through the body. Yeah. And that is possible when one has proper consciousness. That's possible when one sharpens his intelligence by knowledge. And that's what this king lost. That's what this king didn't have. Yeah. Because he became sinful. became sinful. Then finally, by the, as we said, mercy of Guru and Krishna, then one comes to a certain point of understanding, then one can realize, oh, hey, that's not good. I'm receiving too heavy reactions. Now we'll see in this chapter, now that's going to happen. All these different reactions are going to come upon the king, and you will see what will happen. The old age will happen, disease will happen. All of this follows when you are not pious, when you're simple. You think by enjoying the body you'll be happy. No, you will not be happy. The more one enjoys, the more one will suffer. Apparently enjoys material. Yeah. One's immune system becomes weak, and one is more prone to all kinds of diseases, one will suffer. So we'll see. That will be very, very interesting description what goes on when one enjoys, overly enjoys under quote, of course, that's not really an enjoyment. It's all in the mind. It's just all kind of different types of worlds created within the mind. Real enjoyment is not just rubbing on the skin. That's going on. So because of that, then one loses every good sense. One loses intelligence. The lust covers knowledge. The lust destroys intelligence. One becomes practically worse than an animal. So now here, the wife succeeded. She bewildered the king and brought him under her control. And they enjoyed, sex life. So the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, after hunting in the forest, King Puranjana returned home. And after refreshing himself by taking a bath and eating nice food, he searched for his wife. When he saw her lying down on the ground without a bed, as if neglected and devoid of any proper dress, he became very much aggrieved. He then became attracted to her and began to enjoy her company. A living entity similarly engaged in the material world in sinful activities. These sinful activities may be compared to King Puranjana's hunting in the forest. We already said, we were talking how people go and hunt in the city, no? What is going on today? What is going to be going during Diwali time? What is going on when any holidays are there? No? Week holidays, weekly holidays, monthly holidays, whatever holidays. Men go out and girls go out. They all go hunting, no? All go hunting for each other. So it's this way King Puranjana was hunting in the forest. A sinful life can be counteracted by various processes of religion, such as yagya, vrata, and dana. This is the performance of sacrifice, the taking of a vow for some religious ritual, and the giving of charity. In this way, one may become free from the reactions of sinful life, and at the same time awaken his original Krishna consciousness. That's a huge purport here. We have a little less than half an hour. It's like a page and a half. There's a lot of discussion on this verse. So let's see how much we can cover. So Srila Prabhupada said that the sinful life can be counteracted by certain spiritual activities. Yagya, Vrata, and Dana. So Yagya means some sacrifice. What is the greatest sacrifice in this age of Kali?
Chanting of the holy name.
Chanting of the holy name. So that's Krishna saying in Bhagavad Gita, all the yagyas and japa. So we just chant the holy name whenever we can. Whenever we can, we should chant Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
It's the greatest yagya. If you do this yagya, you'll be free from sinful reactions. So, and that's easy yagya. That's easy for us. You don't have to do some special arrangement or endeavor for particular brahmanas or something to sit and light the fire and do whatever, all kinds of different conceptions of yagyas that we might be having. No, we just chant. Just chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It's the most powerful. So that's yagya. Then of course we have dana. What means dana? Dana. That's long way. So charity. What means charity? Charity can mean financial, giving some lakshmi, renouncing. But dana can be also renouncing many other things, renouncing material propensity, renouncing material attachments. Give up all of this. Just give all of that in charity. That's very interesting. How many of us do that? Give your time. Give your time in charity. Give your energy in charity. Give your body in charity. That's the best one. Give your body in charity. But not after you die. Not that. Don't do that one. That's not the best one. Because you don't know what will happen. And you will receive reaction if it's misused. If it's misused, you gave it. So you will get a piety from that or impiety depending what's the body used for. Let's say you give your eyes to someone and somebody is looking pornography afterwards. They got the eyes and now they're misusing your eyes. Yeah. Or you give them liver and they start drinking. You give them, I don't know, anyway. Anyway, so you can go extend the analogy further and description of it. There's so many different things can happen with different parts of your body. Or you give your body and somebody transforms the gender and then what else? Don't laugh, this is what happens. And I know cases like this. But that's what happens when you're bodily conscious and you become mad with lust, and you do so many things. And you use someone else's parts of body for your madness. So then it can be very simple. Or many other things can be done, of course, which are ordinarily done by one's bodies. So better to give, proper dana, give some time, give some energy, give your resources to Krishna. Then that's going to counteract the sinful reactions. And that's going to bring you some pious credit and proper consciousness. And then of course vrata. Vrata means you give a vow. When you give a vow, that strengthens one's conviction. That it helps. You give a vow. Because like it said, the man is as good as his promise. So if you don't keep a promise, then what kind of character it is? It's a wimp, it's an animal practice. So if you give a vow to do something and follow something, then you should stick to it. If we have any character, it will help us. It will help us to achieve whatever we have aimed to achieve. Let's say tomorrow it's Ekadashi, right? So if today you're thinking, okay, tomorrow's Ekadashi, so let's try to fast a little bit. Let's try to do some yagya. That's also yagya. That's also yagya tapa. That's also dana. Let's do some fasting tomorrow. So you can take prasadam today. That's okay. But fast tomorrow. And you give vrata. Okay, tomorrow, nothing. And if you're fixed in that, you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to do it. So vrata, it's really helping us to overcome different bodily urges. And it's helping us to rise above all these urges which are making us thinking that we are the body. No, we are not the body. We are beyond the body. But unless you try to rise above that bodily conception, you'll never have that realization. No? So that's why we perform all these different spiritual activities to help us rise beyond bodily consciousness, to help us rise beyond the urges of the body. Because if you don't do that, then how will you ever have any kind of other realization? Then you always think body, I'm the body and I'm enjoying through the body, and that's why I need sex life, because that's what's the essence of the bodily, existence. But once you realize that I'm not the body, then you will realize I don't need sex life either. I can be perfectly happy and satisfied, completely practically, without any sex life. don't need that, distraction and that waste of consciousness and waste of intelligence. And wasting your body, which becomes dysfunctional, and as we said, prone to diseases and so many weaknesses. So that's why when one performs these spiritual activities, he can be free from reactions of sinful life. So by coming home, taking his bath, eating nice foodstuff, getting refreshed and searching for his wife, King Puranjana came to his good consciousness in his family life. In other words, a systematic family life as enjoined in the Vedas is better than an irresponsible sinful life. So that's another angle here that we can understand, that the king, when he came back from the exploits of sinful existence, he came back. And of course, when you're so sinful, then you become tired and exhausted. No? You need some rest. You have to rejuvenate, become weak. You need some energy. So that's what he did. So Srila Prabhupada points here, he says that if one follows the scriptures and tries to regulate his bodily needs or urges, whatever it is, but through the scriptures, at least in such a regulated way, then that's better than, just not following anything, or being irresponsible, being sinful. So that's better. That's a better position. And that's kind of an intermediate position. Because you can't many times it's not easy. It's not just somebody just fully just giving up sinful life and then just becoming a saint or something. So there has to be some intermediate level. And that level is that, okay, one cannot stop bodily urges and whatever, but then at least regulate it. Do it in such a way that it's not sinful. Take some responsibility for that. Then you may have a family, and then you may try to practice Krishna consciousness within that frame, within that environment. So that's better than just being irresponsibly sinful. If a husband and wife combine together in Krishna consciousness and live together peacefully, that is very nice. However, if a husband becomes too much attracted by his wife and forgets his duty in life, the implication of materialistic life will again resume. So one can, many times think, yes, I will find a nice wife in Krishna consciousness, and then we will be living nicely together in Krishna consciousness. And then many times it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because one or the other or both of them just become overly engrossed in each other and then forget spiritual duties. And then they fall back again. They fall back in Maya. Yeah? They forget about the essence of why they came together. And like what happens, mostly what happens here in the temple. The girls come here and they look for nice brahmachari, somebody who is qualified, kind of has developed some pure habits, good qualities. It's like having some sense control, having some mind control, and they're devoted, they're spiritual also, and they're responsible. They're very decent, all kinds of funny things. And then also many men will come to temple and they will look for some nice Mataji. She's very, she's serving Krishna so nicely. She's like very dedicated. She will learn how to cook, so she knows how to cook. Nowadays I doubt any girls know how to cook. It's like, it's so such a degradation of Kali. And then, she's this, she's that. So people have different motives. I know one fellow in the West, there's a famous musician. So all the devotees were excited. Wow, we got some famous musician. He became kind of a devotee. That's like, but he was just looking for girls. And just anyway, but that's the reason he came, because he understood. Those who practice Krishna consciousness, they're not just some other animals out there. Yeah. So he recognized they have some good qualities. So this is what may happen. And then if this is the reason why somebody comes to Krishna consciousness, it won't last too long until they fall back into their animalistic propensities. And then practically lose Krishna consciousness again. And this does happen pretty much, very often. Because again, when man and woman combine together, they completely become bewildered. Until the point that bewilderment, of course, starts fading, and then they start hating each other. But in the meantime, they lost their Krishna consciousness. I know many cases. You don't see them around. They got married, they carried away by the waves of Maya. So what can be done? It's unfortunate. So if one becomes overly attracted to the opposite gender, or vice versa, or both of them, then they'll forget the duties, real duty of the human life. And the implications of materialistic life will again resume. Srila Rupa Goswami is therefore recommended anasaktasya vishayan. Without being attracted by sex, the husband and wife may live together for the advancement of spiritual life. The husband should engage in devotional service, and the wife should be faithful and religious according to the Vedic instructions. Not easy. Not easy. That's it. They both have to be qualified. The husband should engage in devotional service, so he has to be fixed in bhakti, performing devotional activities. And the wife should be faithful and religious according to Vedic injunctions. This is too much to ask nowadays. It's not mentioned too much. It's not overly. It's not an overly request, but just listen. The wife should be faithful. I don't know how many are there as such, and religious according to Vedic injunctions. What does it mean, Vedic injunctions? There are quite a number of Vedic injunctions, and follows them. And then Prabhupada said, such a combination is very good. Yeah, such a combination, but where is such a combination? It's like a lottery, maybe, one in how many zeros behind it. However, if the husband becomes too much attracted to the wife due to sex, the position becomes very dangerous. Women in general are very much sexually inclined. Everybody nowadays is sexually inclined because that's all that you see around, that's all that you breathe, that's all that you taste, that's all that you smell. It's all about sex life. That's it. It's just all pervading. But why is that so? Because that's how people work hard. That's what we said. The sex makes the world go round. That's how people work hard. That's how economy drive is going on. Otherwise, nothing will be happening. But if that impulse is there of sex life, then people become very active, and they're ready to work very hard. So that's another. So Prabhupada saying women in general are very much sexually inclined. Yeah, well, everybody's sexually inclined, but the point is, lust. It's not. It was explained. Lust is in a man. It's more easily detectable in a gross way. In a woman, it's not so grossly detectable. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. Their lust, it's explained by an analogy. Like if you would have a fountain. We have a fountain here behind. What do you think? What kind of fountain is that? Is it male or female? Anybody went behind that? It's a lotus. I mean, it's in the shape of a lotus. Anyone who wants to guess? Huh? Nobody? No? Okay, they just follow. Raise the hand. Anybody else? See, when you have one outlet, that's a male one. Just one source of the pressure. It's very easily detectable, no? Now, when a man is lusty, what happens? You know, he's just thinking about sex life, that's it. Just direct, straight, gross, no? But when the woman is lusty, it's just like many outlets. It's a whole, lila going on, all kinds of things. Because it's more diverse, but it's also lust. I want this, I want that, unlimited desires. I require that. I'm attached to this, so many attachments, so many desires, so many different kinds of things. That's why there was that article in, I think in New York Times or something else. Somebody made a comment that man wants all the woman to satisfy his one desire. A woman was looking for a man who would satisfy all her desires. Got that? Yes or no?
Yes.
So it's like this. So this is how lust is manifested. It's manifested in different ways. Of course, and it includes also desire for sexual union. That's also there. So indeed, it is said that the woman's sex desire is 9 times stronger than the man's. 9 times stronger. For various reasons. I think that was Chanakya Pandit quoting the Shastra. 9 times stronger. It is therefore a man's duty to keep a woman under his control by satisfying her, giving her ornaments. See, that's the point. So giving her ornaments, nice food and clothes, and engaging her in religious activities. Of course, then that's also a challenge. Then you have to be engaged in religious activities. Of course, a woman should have a few children, and in this way not be disturbing to the man. Because that energy has to be channeled. Energy to control, energy to enjoy. If a couple doesn't have kids, of course, then it's not a real couple, then there's no purpose, you know. Griha, hina, what is that? Griha shunya, what is that word? If there's no children in grihastha life, then the grihastha life is zero, it's shunya. So unfortunately, if the man becomes attracted to the woman simply for sex enjoyment, then family life becomes abominable. There's nothing spiritual, there's nothing religious, there's nothing higher. You know, if it's just we come together because we're so lusty, and then it won't last either. It won't last either, because if they each take it, you know, if they each think of themselves to be just sex machines, and then what's the purpose of such kind of existence? And just abominable. The great politician Chanakya Pandit has said, Bharya Rupavati Shatru. A beautiful wife, it's an enemy. Of course, every woman in the eyes of her husband is very beautiful. When you're lusty, of course, then everything it doesn't matter. I said that when you're lusty, then you're not looking for a super soul. You're looking for a super hole. Then any hole will do. Where's the question of looking for Krishna? Where is the question of being religious, pious? When one is lusty, then everything is beautiful and attractive, and like I said the other day, that lizard that was in yours, these fellows raped the lizard in the forest, or some months back, was the article. Very abominable, very abominable. So yeah, he said, the beautiful wife, it's an enemy. Why is she an enemy? Because first of all, the man is trapped. No? He's trapped by her beauty, that's one thing. And then another thing is also that she's not just beautiful to him, she'll be beautiful to many others. And what will be his condition? So it's not just beautiful to you, she'll be beautiful to so many others. And then what if she starts spending some time with them? Even little discussions or whatever, something else like this going on. And that will drive men mad, no? Of jealousy. And so many things may happen and follow. Okay. If the husband sees the wife as very beautiful, it is to be assumed that he is too much attractive to her. So that's not good for spiritual life, because then again one won't be able to rise above the bodily platform of life. No? One won't be able to rise above the bodily platform of life. So that's a big problem. One will lose the essence, one will miss the essence of the purpose of life. Yeah. That's why it's interesting that Srila Prabhupada, he describes that he didn't like his wife. And he was thinking of remarrying. And then his father told him not to do that. And then Prabhupada later on writes that his father practically saved him like this, because if he would be remarried and too attracted or too attached to his wife, then he would never be able to leave the home. So ultimately the purpose is to renounce everything and just be Krishna conscious. Otherwise, again, if you remain bewildered, then how is spiritual practice possible? So the attraction is the attraction of sex. The whole world is captivated by the two modes of material nature, Rajaguna and Tamaguna, passion and ignorance. Generally, women are very much passionate and are under the control of their passion and ignorance. By performing bhakti yoga or devotional service, a man can be raised to the platform of goodness. If a husband situated in the mode of goodness can control his wife, who is in passion and ignorance, the woman is benefited. So, of course, Striya Vaishyas Tata Shudra, like we said, nowadays mostly even men are covered by ignorance and passion. Very few are the men really in a Vedic cultural sense of the meaning of the word a man. Very few can really rise up to the mode of goodness. But if somebody can do that, then he can benefit the other one. Okay. Forgetting her natural inclination for passion and ignorance, the woman becomes obedient and faithful to her husband, who is situated in goodness. So, of course, if there is someone who can have such qualities, that's a challenge, that's not easy. But such a life becomes very welcome. Okay, we have to hurry up. I can't make too many comments. You want to finish this purport. So just a little more patience here. We'll just read it fast. The intelligence of a man and a woman may then work very nicely together, and they can make a progressive march towards spiritual realization. Otherwise, the husband, coming under the control of the wife, sacrifices his quality of goodness and becomes subservient to the quality of passion and ignorance. In this way, the whole situation becomes polluted. So what could be a certain advantage or a certain life existence in a higher mode may become completely compromised. So the conclusion is that a household life is better than a sinful life, devoid of responsibility. So that we already said. But if in the household life the husband becomes subordinate to wife, involvement in materialistic life again becomes prominent. So who is capable? So that's not easy. So that's why we emphasize so much on training What means training? Learning how to control the senses, mind. If one doesn't learn that, and one enters, see, you can't be a good grihastha unless you've been a good brahmachari. It's not going to work. That means you immediately plan to fail. You know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. No? That's how it goes. So if you didn't have a training how to live a brahmachari life, learn certain principles, work under the authority, restrain your senses, develop humility and other good qualities. When you enter grihastha life, you won't be able to control yourself. You'll be coming under control of your wife or under control of the lust, and you'll just glide down to hell along with her. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. So under any circumstance, one should have some kind of training. Under any circumstance. And that was the Vedic culture. That was the Vedic culture. Nowadays, of course, there's no culture, there's nothing going on. And that's why we see what's happening in the society. Everybody's just living an animalistic life. In this way, a man's material bondage becomes enhanced. Because of this, according to the Vedic system, after a certain age, a man is recommended to abandon his family life for the stages of vanaprastha and sannyas. Okay, 9 o'clock. So that's why one is then at least advised to renounce the family life, become a vanaprastha or sannyasi at the age of 50. But again, if one doesn't have that training and that experience in the beginning of his life, he'll never be able to do that. Never be able to renounce. Just be trapped. Like, this wonderful analogy, right? That man is just like a bull moving around the pole, right? And bull is chained by his weak point, right? That's the nose, right? And he keeps on going. He's under control. And in a similar way, the lusty man is, trapped by his weak point, which is sex life, and just goes around the woman, which is like a bull, being unable to renounce it or control it or do anything about it. Okay, any comments or questions? Krishna, can you please call Suraj? Supposed to be here half an hour ago. Ask him what he's doing here. Yes.
Because you mentioned the point is to come to renunciation, point of renunciation. While talking about Prabhupada, he had a bad wife, so and he didn't regret to remarry like the father. So the point is, if someone has bad experiences like this and then he renounces, so does that renunciation is like any different than someone who is having let's say good experiences in life, but he still renounces, or let's say he learns.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Good experience, bad experience. The point is to renounce.
So that
somehow or other you should renounce. Somehow or other one should renounce, because unless you renounce, how will you have any other experience? So by any way, means, or to any point, if you can renounce, that's good. So of course, but then renunciation has to be in the knowledge, because it won't last. Otherwise it won't last. It will be temporary.
Okay, I have a question. Hare Krishna.
There are some internet disturbances here. So Sahib, I'm switching you off. I don't know what to do with switching off.
That's okay.
even I can't do it, I think.
Okay, fine.
ठीक है छोड़ दो
So it doesn't matter what his experience, but at least one should somewhere or other come to certain position from where he can have a different experience, and hopefully remain steady with it. Because Because if you don't make another step, then how can you expect anything else to ever go on? No, it's not gonna manifest. It's not gonna happen. Okay.
So realization, there won't be any difference.
There won't be any. There will be realization. Will come with renunciation. But if it's in knowledge, then that renunciation will remain steady. That's a very important thing. So Prabhupada did have a lot of realization. But of course, there is a lot of affection and attachment also. So sometimes Krishna is merciful and makes certain arrangements to release us from all those different attachments. But we also have to make some steps. We can't just expect Krishna to do everything for us. How is it possible? If you keep on holding and you say, let me go, let me go. No. You have to let go at some point. Yeah. For some higher cause. And that understanding of a higher cause will come, like what we discussed here, with intelligence and pure consciousness. And then you will get by practicing this process. Otherwise it will never happen, and you remain trapped forever and just go from, just from being pigeon to being a cat, from being, rabbit, and I don't know, just having all the time sex life, just thinking sex life. That's all. So one has to rise above this, genital existence. Okay. Okay, then we'll stop here. Any? No raised hand, unless something is in the chat box. There's no discussion right now in the chat box. Okay, Hare Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, you can write me in. Go to one day.